Hello everyone, I'm Gary May, back here once again for another ranking video, ranking the albums. This time I'm going to be ranking the entire studio collection of Kiss, and if I have some time, maybe I'll do a little bonus. And I'm going to be ranking these albums I don't want to say my favorites because my favorite Kiss album I'm not going to put at number one, but in my opinion, the worst into the very best of Kiss. And I'm doing everything by Kiss, makeup years, non-makeup years, the different lineups, everything. So basically all their studio albums, and I believe, I want to count right now, I believe they have about 20 studio albums altogether. All right, first up, what is my opinion, the worst Kiss album is Carnival Souls, the Final Sessions. This came out basically after Kiss announced in '97 '96 actually, that they are reuniting with Ace Frehley and Peter Criss, and I guess this is kind of just the leftovers, which is why it's called the Final Sessions. But I feel like with a title like Carnival Souls, you could have did much better with the artwork. I mean, yeah, it's cool to see the guys in the studio, but I always thought the Final Sessions added to it was unnecessary, and this is the last album they will record with Bruce Kulick. And basically, just an album I could never get through. As many times as I tried to listen to it, I just can't get it through it all the way. Excuse me. Next up, one of their final studio albums, no, second to last. This is Kiss with Sonic Boom. This is the Digiback. Another album. I feel like a lot of filler, tough to get through. Definitely not Kiss's greatest work. But what is cool about this CD is it comes with its second disc, Kiss Classic Songs, re-recorded with Tommy Thayer on guitar and Eric Singer on drums. Basically the songs that originally recorded in the 70s, a few 80s songs actually. And this also comes with a DVD, which is Live in Buenos Aires. So this is definitely worth getting. I do like the artwork a lot. It's pretty cool. But it's definitely worth getting for the 2 bonus discs. And you can find this at a pretty decent price, less than $10 for 3 discs. Brand new. Next up, from 1989, this is Hot in the Shade by Kiss. Features a huge hit song they had back then, Forever. But I just feel like it's kind of weak overall. A little too long, 15 tracks on here. Forever is the best song. The opener Rise Tour is pretty decent. Loves a slap in the face. That's okay. But yeah, basically, I just felt like not a great album from Kiss. And unfortunately, this would be the last full album with Eric Carr. Next up, an album which I think it's a little underrated. I think it's better than people give it credit for. This is Music from the Elder. I know this was hated by Peter Criss and Ace Frehley at the time, and Ace has said recently that he's grown to love it a little more. And there's some instrumental stuff on here, some really weird stuff. World Without Heroes, I would say, is probably the best song off here. Also, Eyes, a decent song. But yeah, if you have this, you haven't listened in a while, give it another listen. I could think it's a decent album. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. Although, a lot of filler on there. Next up, from '87, this is Kiss with Crazy Nights. Obviously, it features the hit song Crazy Crazy Nights. A couple of other decent songs on here, like Bang Bang You, Hell or High Water. But that's about it. Again, this is Kiss late in their 80s career. Still a huge band, still selling out stadiums and arenas. But I feel like their live music was the best thing they were producing at the time. Next we have from 2012, the final studio album Kiss put out with Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer. This is Monster, and I feel like this is a decent album. It's heavier, there's a lot of a lot of rockin' songs, no really ballads on here, nothing slow, nothing really that acoustic. Hell or Hallelujah was a minor hit off of here, didn't get a lot of radio play. But yeah, Monsters, I think it's a decent album. And you gotta remember, this is their 20th studio album. So for a band to keep putting out decent material that far in their career and that many studio albums in is, kind of rare. Next up, I believe this is, 84. This is Animalized, Kiss. Um, Heaven's on Fire is the big hit off of here. Another, 80s album that, kind of suffered from Kiss not wearing their makeup anymore, and they're trying to capitalize on the 80s glam metal scene, which they helped create in the 70s. Excuse me. Sorry, my allergies are acting up this time of year. Next, we got Kiss with Psycho Service. There you see the lenticular cover. And this CD is another one that gets a bad rap. I like it. I think it's pretty decent. Features the title track, Psycho Circus, which still gets played live, still incorporated in their live sets. Also, Pledge Allegiance to the State of Rock and Roll. I feel is another hit anthem. Not to the point of Rock and Roll All Night, but it's up there. Basically, this was the last studio album and the reunited album also with Ace Frehley and Peter Criss. Came out in 1998. And even though this wasn't a huge album, it was a pretty big, decent seller. A lot of marketing came from this. They had action figures out once again. A lot of T-shirts were sold, posters, especially in stores like Spencer's, Sam Goody, The Wall. In the mall, this was kind of all over the place. I miss those days. They also put out video games. Kiss Psycho Surface, the video game, was released on Sega Dreamcast, if anyone remembers that. And I love that game. I remember it getting a bad rap. It was kind of a shooter game. Songs from this album were played as you played the game. It's pretty much just like shooting monsters and stuff like that. I would always say it's kind of in the vein of the game Quake, but I'm not a big video game guy. I don't really play many of them, but I did love that game, which my grandmother bought me because she knew I was a Kiss fan. So that was really cool. Next up is one of my favorite albums by Kiss in the 80s. This is Asylum. Kind of a weird album cover, which I never really liked. But Who Wants to Be Lonely, which is a great song. I love it, is off of this. Tears Are Falling, another hit song off of this. King of the Mountain's a great song. Any Way You Slice It. Just a great album from Kiss. This was released 1985. Yeah, just good stuff. I believe this is the first album they did with Bruce Kulick. Next up, Kiss Revenge. First album they did with Eric Singer. 1992 release. And kind of Kiss had a little resurgence in the early 90s. Especially with the Unplugged album coming out after this. And yeah, the metal scene was kind of dying off with grunge coming in, but I feel like Kiss put out a pretty decent album for being 1992. Some decent songs off here: Unholy, God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too, which was great, Domino, which was a hit song, I Just Wanna, and then it ends with a tribute to Eric Carr, Carr Jam 1981. Basically, this was kind of a tribute to Eric Carr, who sadly passed away before the album was made. Next up, Kiss Unmasked. Another album which I feel like gets a lot of shit, which is unnecessary. I like it a lot. I probably would have ranked this higher. Is That You is great. Shandy, a great ballad. Talk to Me, great song by Ace. Two Sides of the Coin was definitely a hit off here. She's So European, another great song. Yeah, I always liked this artwork too. That was pretty cool. And the fact that it was called Unmasked, I think, was a big selling point when this came out in 1980, because I think people might have bought it and thought like they could have been unmasked. The makeup would have came off inside the album once you bought it, but that wouldn't come for another 3 years. Next up, first album Kiss released post makeup. This is Lick It Up from 1983. Obviously, it features the huge hit single Lick It Up, which is all over MTV, and still see clips of it today whenever Kiss is mentioned. Exciter, the opener, I thought is absolutely great. Such a heavy song. All Hell's Breaking Loose, another great song off here. Featuring Vinnie Vincent and Eric Carr. To replace Ace Frehley and Peter Criss. Next we have their disco album, as people like to call it. This is Dynasty, released in 1978. I'm sorry, 1979. Yeah, they're trying to capitalize on the, I guess, the disco era, the dance era. Songs like I Was Made for Loving You and Sure Knows Something, which were huge hits, and they're still great. I love them. And I don't think many Kiss fans or, metalheads or people into hard rock really hate them songs. I think it's kind of like a guilty pleasure. Awesome songs. Also features Ace Frehley doing a cover of the Rolling Stones' 2000 Man. X-Ray Eyes is great. Dirty Living, another great song. I always loved that album artwork too. I feel like that's one of their great last iconic photos of all four original members. Next up, the last album the band would do before the makeup would come off. This is Creatures of the Night. Probably their greatest album of the 80s. Features the obviously the title track, the huge hit they had, I Love It Loud, and I Still Love You, which is a great ballad sang by Paul. Sorry. First, you see Eric Carr is there, the Fox, replacing Peter Criss, and also Ace Frehley does not play on this album, but his image was used on the artwork just to sell the album, and you know, Ace complied. I'm sure he got a cut of the album sales, so why not? Next up, Kiss, Dressed to Kill. A lot of Kiss classics on this. Obviously, this features Rock and Roll All Night, which is probably the biggest Kiss song. But the live version, I feel like, is bigger than the studio version. I think the artwork's cool. I think it's very iconic. A lot of people don't like it because it's like, well, why is Kiss like this? Why are they wearing suits? And the suits actually belong to their manager at the time, which I can't really remember his name off the top of my head, which pretty much went bankrupt trying to sell Kiss. And you know, Kiss would obviously blow up a year later with the first Alive album, and then Destroyer after that, and you know, wound up being one of the biggest bands of all time. A lot of good live staples on here, like Rock Bottom, Come On and Love Me, Anything for My Baby, She, great song, and opens up a Room Service and a two-timer. Yeah, just a really good album. Definitely one you can listen to from start to finish. Next up, another album. Always love the artwork, love the colors there. This is Rock and Roll Over from 1976. Opens up with I Want You with a acoustic intro, and then just you hear Ace's guitar just come in heavy. A couple hits off of this: Calling Dr. Love, which was actually used in a Dr. Pepper commercial about 20 years later, or maybe 30 years later, I'd say, probably about 2006. Mr. Speed's a great song. Hard Luck Woman, vocal by Peter Criss, one of my favorite Kiss songs. And Ends Up Making Love, super heavy, super fast song. Another album that would sell a lot of merchandise, artwork, t-shirts, all that. Next, another iconic cover by Kiss. All these albums in the 70s I just feel like are so iconic. This is Love Gun. I Stole Your Love opens up. Christine 16. Got Love for Sale. Shock Me. Tomorrow and Tonight. Always loved that song. Kind of a cool poppy, rock song. Title track, Love Gun. Super heavy again. Great song. Just listen to that song and try not to tap your feet and bang your head. Hooligan, Almost Human, Plaster Caster. It ends with a cover of Then She Kissed Me, which was, Then He Kissed Me, which I believe was done by the Crystals back in the 60s. This also features Ace Frehley's first, his singing debut with Shock Me. Yeah, really good album. Again, look at that artwork. So iconic. I feel like it's like probably the second most well-known artwork of Kiss after Destroyer. Alright, now we're down to the final three. Hotter Than Hell, one of my favorite Kiss albums. No really hits off of here. A lot of songs that you'll know from the live album. A lot of Kiss classics. I mean, a lot of songs that Kiss fans love. Gotta Choose, Parasite, which is great. Going Blind is my favorite song off this album. Great vocal performance by Gene Simmons. Title track, Hotter Than Hell, is probably the closest they got to a hit single off of this. Let Me Go, Rock and Roll, All the Way, Watching You, Mainline, another great vocal performance from Peter Criss. Coming Home and Strange Ways. And yeah, they kind of use the kabuki Japanese artwork, which is why you see the Japanese letters for the cover there. Next up is what I would pick as my favorite Kiss album, although I'm not going to put it as number one because I feel like there's another album that's stronger, and it is the debut by Kiss, self-titled. As you can see, their artwork's a little different than what it would come to be years later. Amazing album, 1974 release. Nothing like this came before that. Opens up with Strutter, Nothing to Lose, Firehouse, which was a huge song that would play on a lot of live shows back in the 70s, but never really had a lot of radio play. Cold Gin, great song. Let Me Know, Kissin' Time, Deuce, Love Theme from Kiss, 100,000 Years, and my all-time favorite Kiss song, Black Diamond. Opens up at Paul's vocals and then goes right into Peter Criss. Such a great, great song. Just see Ace has like silver hair there. And weird thing about this album, when it was first released, it was sold a lot in the the black communities because they thought they were a black band performing with white makeup. I guess they did have a little bit of soul and R&B influences, but they're definitely hard rock, but kind of hard to tell their ethnicity from the cover. But yeah, again, when this came out, Kiss wasn't that big of a band. Didn't happen to about a year or two later. Great album. All right, last one. You probably guessed by singling out all the other albums. Probably their most well-known album, their most popular album, their biggest selling studio album, their most iconic photo, Destroyer. This is the album that put Kiss all over the world, made them the biggest band in the world. Released in 1976. They were everywhere. I mean, kids had them on their lunch boxes, on their school bags. They were doing parades. They were playing their songs at school. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank there. School pep rallies, parades for homecoming dances. It's just all over the place. Action figures, 8-tracks, vinyl, cassette. This was out then. Just a classic album from start to finish. Opens up with Detroit Rock City, which was a movie was named after. King of the Nighttime World, God of Thunder, one of Gene's most heaviest songs. Very demonic, definitely a huge influence on heavy metal. Great Expectations, decent song. Flaming Youth, great song, minor hit for them. Sweet Pain, Shout Out Loud, another huge hit. Definitely in '97 when the band got back together, that was re-released and that was huge. Peter Criss's Ballad, huge song, huge selling single, Beth, and it ends with Do You Love Me? So yeah, Kiss Destroyer, #1. The production's just so good, even though it's not my favorite Kiss album, it's still amazing. Now we got a couple minutes. I'm just going to rank the solo albums, some of the live albums, and some of the compilations. And obviously for the solo albums, I think everyone can agree we're going with Ace Frehley as #1. He's doing one at hit single from the 4 solo albums with New York Groove. Other great songs on here like Rip It Out, Speeding Back to My Baby, Snowblind, Ozone. And it's kind of weird because Ace only had one vocal on a Kiss album before this was released, and he actually released the best solo album. And #2 for me, I'm going to go with Paul Stanley. A lot of cool songs that were from the Kiss meets Phantom of the Park movie, like Tonight You Belong to Me, Hold Me, Touch Me, Think of Me When We're Apart. I always thought that was a cool ballad. Very poppy though. I always liked it. I thought it was decent. And a lot of people usually say this is the best one after Ace Frehley. I'm putting a third just because I like Paul's album better. It's got a more poppy sound. Radioactive, See You Tonight, See You in Your Dreams. But the one thing I really hated about this was the cover of When You Wish Upon a Star. I thought that was unnecessary. And Peter Criss, even though I love his voice, I just thought this was a weak solo album. Definitely the worst of all the 4 of them. I feel like it's more of like an R&B and like dance album. Not really heavy like Ace's or Gene's or as poppy as Paul's. Next up, we're gonna do the live albums. Don't have all the live albums. I'm missing the new. I think it's called Kiss Rocks Vegas. Well, the last live album they put out. Just have 5 here. Gonna rank them. These are all great, so just because one's last doesn't mean it's great. Doesn't mean it's not great. Kiss Unplugged. Really cool album. Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, Eric Singer, Bruce Kulick, and then at the end they bring out a special guest, Ace Frehley and Peter Criss, and this would eventually go on to help them have the reunion tour of the late '90s. Next is Kiss Alive 3. Features a lot of songs that they did during the '80s. Again, this is Bruce Kulick on guitar, and I believe there's a mixture of Eric Carr and Eric Singer, but it all could be Eric Singer. I'm not 100% positive because this came out in 93. A couple songs from the 70s, but mostly the 80s stuff on here. And 90s after the Revenge album. That was the tour from the Revenge album. Next up, I'm going with Kiss Alive 4 Symphony. I always liked this album. I always liked the disc. I thought that was cool to have Rock and Roll Over Beethoven with the Peter Criss makeup on him. Actually, it's all 4 of the members' makeup, sorry. As you can see, you got Paul Stanley Star, Gene Simmons Other Eye, and then Peter Criss mouth. But yeah, this is, excuse me, pretty cool. I mean, it's cool to hear the symphony on stuff like King of the Nighttime World and Great Expectations. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Oops. All right. Next up, Kiss Alive 2. I feel like overall, this might be a better live set than Kiss Alive 1. But the 4th side on vinyl features all these new studio tracks, which I never really got into. I kind of just turned them off. All American Man, Any Way You Want It are probably the 2 best studio tracks, but nothing really that memorable. But this is basically collect stuff from after Live, starting with Destroyer, through Rock and Roll Over and Love Gun. And obviously, best Kiss Live album, Kiss Alive, iconic. The album that put Kiss on the map. And it's kind of rare for a band to have their live album be the one that really breaks you through, but that was the 70s. Same thing with like Frampton Came Alive, Humble Pie, Rockin' the Fillmore, things like that. And then real quick, couple compilations, best of albums. We got Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits. I like this. This is cool. It has 2 new tracks. Let's Put the X in Sex, which was a decent hit back in the late 80s. Also, You Make Me Rock Hard, which I always thought was a pretty decent song. Everything else is just kind of a greatest hits of some late 70s. Little deuces on here from the first album. And then you got Beth with Eric Carr singing as opposed to Peter Criss, so that was cool. Then next we have this very best of Kiss. Basically everything through their career up until the Revenge album. God Gave Rock and Roll to You, too. And my favorite greatest hits album by Kiss, Greatest Kiss. This was released to coincide with the reunion tour in '97, and basically it's everything from the first album up until Unmasked. So you got everything from 74 to 80 on here, with the 4 original members. Great album by Kiss, and this is my original copy. I remember getting this from Columbia House in '97 when it came out, and it's just amazing. Probably one of my favorite greatest hits albums ever released by any band. Alright, well that's it for Kiss. Comment below. Let me see your ranking. You may disagree with me. You may not. But again, this is my opinion. It's not set in stone. I'm not trying to say this is the greatest Kiss, although Destroyer could be arguable as being the greatest Kiss album. Again, thanks for watching. More videos to come. Instagram, Gary at Elysiums. I post a lot of my stuff there. And yeah, everybody stay safe. Have a good week.